Antiques on York in Rockville, Indiana, 100 West York Street, celebrating our 10th year in business.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have minutes to approve from November 20th.
I sent them all to you.
Yep.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes for November 20th meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. All right. Payroll. We have payroll in the amount of $202,312.42. Then the Union Hospital Security payroll in the amount of $7,912.94.
I'm gonna make a motion, we approve payroll in the amount of $202,312.42 at the Union Hospital at $7,912.94.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. This piece we're signing here is just something that we approved last meeting, but we didn't fail to sign in the right places, so that's covered now. All right. Okay.
Then there's another small payroll, it's a correction.
Ah,
137308.
yes. We have a correction for payroll and make for 911, and it's $1,373.08. I make the motion, we approve that.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, then we have to approve the accounts payable claims in the amount of $1,000.
The claims
Oh, I'm
for
sorry,
payroll.
I just got a line there, yeah.
Payroll
Okay.
claims.
So we have the accounts, acknowledge receipt of payroll claims accounts payable report, that thing we do, that $200,216.29.
And I make a motion, we approve, or acknowledge the receipt of payroll claims in the amount of $200,216.29.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now we'll get to accounts payable.
And this was Leanna's first one, and she did a good job.
Act like you've done that before.
Excellent.
A couple times, yeah, I know, yeah. We are sure glad you're here. Thanks for taking it on.
Thank you. And the reason it's so high, we paid a highway department bill that
Okay.
was over $1 million.
Okay.
You take that off, it's not as high.
Back to normal then, kinda, yeah.
Got paid, huh, Randy?
Yeah. Is that for a whole month or just 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, okay, then. Just checking.
I make a motion, we approve accounts payable claims in the amount of $1,624,263.65.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Not sure when it ever got to be just a normal business day, spending $1
And
million
then
here and $1 million there.
The next page on your stuff is how we spent that 1.6 million. And I highlighted 3 of them, and if you total them all up, it's to Millstone Construction.
Oh, Milestone. yeah,
Milestone,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
yeah.
what made it up.
yeah, gotcha. Milestone is the company that does our community crossings paving jobs. All right. Do we have no
One.
request for out-of-cycle checks?
Yeah, we have one.
Oh, we do, okay, I got 0 on my, oh, no, I thought it was $, it's a 5. Can you make this a little bigger when you get this off, so I can kind of see that somehow?
I figured if I could see it,
In
everybody
case you think I'm
could
going
see.
blind, that's the print we're looking at, so. I thought it was $, 2 zeros after, no, it's a 5, so 500, so what is that?
The extension office had to order postage,
Okay.
and it's due before our next
Okay,
round, and it's
Okay.
$500.
is there
So
a motion to approve?
I make a motion, we approve the out-of-cycle check for Extension
500.
Department for $500.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now, next, I think it says Courtney Ritchie from West Central. I think that's what
Yeah.
those letters say, so I think I'm okay. Courtney here? Yes, sir, come on up.
We have Courtney's replacement today.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
my name's Dave Bittner. I'm with the Small Business Development Center for the state of Indiana.
Okay,
And our organization is a no-cost, state-funded, university-funded, county-funded, a little bit from the SBA. And what we offer is business advising services for the area. I'm actually the business advisor for this area. I had a lengthy career in business and wanted to get back to the country, so I got out of that, and now I offer my services to help small business owners either start a business, stay in business, sell a business. You can see some of the statistics in there on what we've done here to help Parke County.
have we met before in a meeting? Have you presented
We have.
before at
Yeah,
Bridge
you said
61?
That's right.
Yes.
At the
Okay.
chamber meeting.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sure we had, yeah.
Yep, so I was asked to just come out and reiterate what we do and just, we appreciate the support everybody has in the county, especially for referrals, just letting us help and reach out. And, you know, a lot of business owners struggle in the first year, but some struggle 3 or 4 years in, and they need some basic advice just to get them back on track. So we have all kinds of programs we can tap into at the state level. There's ag programs, there's manufacturing programs, technical services. A few other things to note, we also fund with our grant funding to help people set up a website, set up a marketing plan. If they need other services from support on getting things patented or things like that, we can certainly help with that as well. And just from an overall perspective of what we do, we're funded for our base business. But we do try to get, for maybe not, I know you've approved the budget for this coming year, but maybe for the following year, a little bit coming our way allows us to do more for small businesses in the area. So
Okay,
just think of us in the future, but more importantly, just thanks for the opportunity for us to support your community.
well, and you have, and I can give you an example real quickly. I don't know if it was you that dealt with the gentleman or not, but the young man
That's what I thought
that
you was looking
bought
at.
balloon fields across the courthouse. I was just speaking again to him during the Christmas time, and
Yeah.
he is so appreciative. He's the one that came to a redevelopment commission for some state revolving fund loans that we had.
That's right.
And he had gone through the traditional, as he's required to go through the traditional, we declined by that and came. And he came and presented, but he had help from you folks because I knew we have a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurial spirits, but really don't know how to go about setting up a workable business plan.
Sure.
And so I know that's what you guys do, and I don't think he could have done it without the help from small business. So I appreciate what you do. But he's a perfect example of good things that happen when people with ideas can go talk to someone, ask me how to do this, and you've been down that road so many times and you help them. So I appreciate
Well,
that.
thank you very much. I appreciate the
Yep,
opportunity.
yep.
So, thank you.
Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. We're going to go through these pretty quickly as we can. It's got a pretty full schedule today, so we'll get as quickly as we can. It is renewal time on all of our insurance things. So first up, we have Karla Losin coming up for our workman's comp renewal policy.
Good afternoon. Another year.
Hi, Karla.
Here we go. Where does it go?
Thank you, Carl.
Okay, what we have here is the workers' compensation renewal for January the 5th.
You want a chair?
No, I'm fine. I've been sitting. Thank you. With IPEP, who we've been with several years, you'll see on the proposal, we've used audited payroll from 2022 and increased that 5% for a total estimated payroll of $5,150,551. The experience modification factor, which is based on the county's claims for 3 prior years, I've shown those there, the dollars, the number of claims, how many were just record-only claims. We did, the year 2019 fell off of the calculation, which was rounded $71,800, and we picked up 2022, which is $62,656. So the experience mod factor did drop a little bit, so that's in the right direction. It was a 1.09 for 2024. It'll be a 1.04.
Okay.
So that's good.
What she's talking about, if you're wondering, is we have the basic policy the coverage that we get, but then our part of our fee is based upon our experience, and so the company uses the prior 3 years. And so if we've had 3 really rough years with a lot of workman's comp claims, we're going to have to pay more next year because the company expects to have some more claims. Luckily, like 2019 year, which was 70,000 in claims, dropped off. We have a couple here at 50 and 60, one at only 18,000. I'd like to keep that one if we could for another couple of years.
Yeah, that would help.
But that's what she's talking about. That's what it's based upon, just our experience.
On down in the proposal, as of November 12 for 2023, we're lists a little over 59,000. There's still 5 open claims
Okay.
for 2023 as of November 12th.
Okay.
So all in all, I'm pleased that the annual premium for last year is $131,376, which is an increase of $4,085 over last year's estimated premium.
Okay.
And I say estimated premium because there will be an audit completed
Sure.
to pick up the 2023 actual payroll, and the premium could be up or down
Right.
based on your actual payroll
Okay.
numbers.
Okay.
We are looking, we are doing our safety meetings bi-monthly. And Julie Lanzone does a wonderful job chairing those meetings. Please encourage all the department heads or their proxy to attend if they're unable. We also, this year, we have scheduled the 10-hour OSHA training. 10-hour OSHA training. I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
It's December 14th and half a day on the 15th, and all the county highway workers are going to participate in that training,
Okay.
which is provided by IPAP at no charge to the county.
Okay.
We've also invited any employees from any departments that wants to participate, they can. I have not been given any names from any other departments at this time.
Let me ask you this. I see you have the volunteer roster. We have oftentimes we have volunteers that have to get on a roster to be covered by the workman's comp insurance.
Right.
Let me ask you this. We have workers now, and I don't know how it sets, and some of the things we didn't know about until we started digging into it. We have some officers that do security for Union Hospital. They are now required by our liability insurance to get a special note from the sheriff saying that it is a sheriff-approved activity. Do you need such a thing for workman's comp to apply to them in a non-sheriff's
Okay.
deputy's role?
So what are they doing?
Security.
Security.
For,
Union Hospital, Clinton.
So they're not on duty with Parke County when
so
they're doing
we're
that.
not responsible for their injuries or anything while they're under union, right? Who's
Union.
paying them?
Nick, you can probably answer those questions better than me.
Union's paying them, but it's an approved activity through the county.
But union is paying them.
The union's doing none of their insurance. That's
Right.
the struggle we had. That's why our liability to cover by our liability had to get the sheriff's notice that it was a sheriff-approved activity. You don't have to tell me now, but if you want
No,
to check
we
it out
have
and
to
see,
look, is
make
that
sure we're covered.
in a contract somehow?
It's something that we had a telephone call with the insurance company, and they said they wanted us to formalize that, so they voted to formalize that it would be covered. So
We actually pay the payroll. That's one of the things we just approved.
Oh,
And
so
then
Parke
Union
County
reimburses.
is paying.
Yeah,
Yes.
Union
pays us
reimburses.
and then we pay the guys.
it's passing
Okay,
through.
I'll have to,
Yeah, I thought you might want to check on that.
Yeah.
We don't want anything to slip through a crack somewhere, so we want to make sure we got that.
but they're on, Parke County is paying the payroll to those officers performing security.
For Union Hospital.
For Union.
Union Hospital is reimbursing for no other better word. I mean, they pay it up front, but then we get.
There was a contract between Union and us, though.
Yes.
If you want that, I can send it to
Okay.
you, Karla.
I just want to make sure the guys are covered if there should be a injury, they fall or something, want to make sure they're covered.
So Union is just funding it.
Yes.
So we're withholding all the appropriate taxes, et
That's all
cetera,
taken care of, yeah.
on all the
The
payroll taxes.
Payroll taxes they're paying for also.
But we're withholding them and reporting them to the state. And then are you given time cards or what are you given to?
That, we get it from the sheriff's department.
Okay. All right, I will research it, but if there is a contract, I'd like to have a copy. Please?
Yeah.
You don't want to create an issue for you, but I don't want an issue come up after we have a
Right.
problem, so.
And the rostered volunteer coverage that we have built into our policy, the volunteers have to be reported before they volunteer.
Okay.
And there's a form that the department should use and turn in to the auditor and then forward to me with what they're doing
Right.
and,
We don't have that come up very often, but we are aware that that needs to be done. It needs to be on your list before they do the volunteer stuff. Otherwise, they just aren't covered.
right,
So it's
Well-
beholden to them to make sure that they are on that list.
yes.
Okay, appreciate you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
So, we need a vote on this. Not like we have much choice.
No, we don't. That's why I didn't know if they had any questions. He was
No,
kind of
let's-
looking.
I make a motion, we
Thank you.
accept the insurance for the workman's comp from
Ransom?
Karla, from Branson Insurance.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks, Karla.
Thank you.
All right, Nick Napier. Nick is our health insurance broker with Brown and Brown, or RE Sutton.
It's okay, I pull up a seat here?
Sure you can.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies. I'll try to take 10 or 15 minutes of your time before we get done here.
While you're passing that out, let me explain some stuff to folks. This is a renewal for health insurance. Health insurance is a huge item for us. The commissioner's job is to negotiate as best we can through our broker the best insurance policy that we can for our people at the best cost. Our real responsibility, because we are self-insured, means that we pay our own claims. So our commissioner responsibility really is to negotiate for the best response for our third-party administrator fixed costs. And our goal from the council is to keep that at 5% or less, and I think we're going to see that. Then after that, then it's up to the council to decide at what level do they want to fund that program. They're going to be responsible for all the bills, so you don't want to have employees paying more than they have to pay for their share of the coverage, but they have to pay enough to cover that share of the coverage. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So really, we're going to talk mostly about the third party, about the fixed cost stuff.
Correct.
But I appreciate you running through the numbers on the rates, what the rates would be, and the rate analysis stuff as well.
Sounds good. I'm going to give a brief overview on how the
Go right
claims are
ahead.
running.
Yep.
I'm going to give us an update on our renewal, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the Centers of Excellence. Right now, you guys may be familiar with the orthopedic Centers of Excellence you have through Hendricks Regional. We've actually expanded that Centers of Excellence offering to cardiovascular with the #1 heart center in the state. So we'll talk about that in a little bit and see if you guys would like to roll that out to make available for employees as well. So over on here, page 1, we'll start at the bottom. You guys see the green highlighted numbers at the very bottom. All the way on the left, you see a -3.9. That's just an enrollment number. So our enrollment from the current 12-month period to the prior 12-month period is down about 3.5–4%, nothing to be concerned with. If we move over a few more columns, you see our -39.2. Those are our actual paid medical claims under the group health plan from the current 12-month period to the prior. So you can see in the current 12-month period, we had about 1.1 million in medical claims. In that prior 12-month period, we had about 1.9 million in medical claims. So we've had a considerable reduction in the actual healthcare spend or the medical claim spend, so that's good to see. We're trending in the right direction. Next column is our pharmacy expenses. You can see that's down about 24.5% $238,000 in the most recent 12-month period, compared with about $328,000 in that prior 12-month period. The next column over is your claims above specific. As Jim mentioned, you guys are essentially insuring that risk on every belly button. If someone goes over $75,000 in claims for themselves, your stop loss insurance company gives every dollar over $75,000 back to you. So you're insuring your own risk up to $75,000, and then your stop loss company is paying that money back to you over $75,000. And to Jim's point, that's kind of what we're discussing today on the fixed costs. Final column, you see down 22% is our total medical claim spend when we're taking our current 12-month period, comparing it to that prior 12-month period. So $1.2 million total in medical and pharmacy spend when you take in your stop loss reimbursements, and then $1.6 million in that prior 12-month period. Our final column tells us where we are with the expected percentage of our underwriters. So you can see we're at about 112% of expected right now. We're about 12% higher in claims than our underwriters had anticipated, and in that prior 12-month period, we're about 166%.
And that's an improvement, because when we talked, we were looking at 146% over expected, so now it's down to 112.
That's correct. We've put a number of programs in place. The pharmacy stuff has been helpful. Our Centers of Orthopedic coverage has actually helped with another $115,000. So we've got a number of things that are helping drive down those costs and getting the pricing better.
Great.
So we're trending in the right direction, no doubt. Are there any questions on this first page before I move on? So that's just an overview of how our health plan's running. We're trending in the right direction. Obviously, that prior 12 was quite high, but we're going in the right direction towards that percentage of expected that we wanted to see. Our next page is exactly what Jim was referring to. What do our fixed costs look like? Those things that we can control. So our first column here, this is your original Anthem renewal that was presented to us. We're going to focus on that first orange line there that's in the middle of the page. You can see our initial Anthem offer is about 11% increase in our fixed costs. That is, if we just took the stop loss offer that Anthem had on the table and accepted it. So what we did is we went to the market for our top 5 reinsurers, or our stop loss insurance, and we asked what the market could provide. Column 2, you can see we're at about 5% increase on our annual fixed costs. But when we head to the bottom of the page into the blue, you can see our total annualized expected costs go from about 1.73 currently to about 1.68 for this upcoming plan year if we were to go with this particular carrier. Jim and I have had a number of conversations on what the best offer would be, and obviously this second offer is the best offer to give us a low fixed cost and protection going into the next plan year. Jim, do you want me to talk at all about the rate cap that this group offers and no new lasers?
Yeah, if you would, no.
Okay.
And you might mention we had a question about what lasers we do have, so you might explain what lasers there are and what a laser is for the people who not sure what that is.
Okay.
So if you would talk about that, and there was also going to be a delay in payment, but that would be a non-payment. It's just going to change.
So right now, you guys are insuring every belly button on your plan for the first $75,000. What an insurance company can do is say, we're going to laser one member. Let's just say someone may have cancer. They're going to say, instead of a $75,000 threshold, you are now responsible for $150,000. Until that $150,000 kicks in for that member, the stop loss won't pay out. So essentially, in order to help your renewal come down a little bit, they laser out 1 or 2 members that may have additional risk. I can share, we don't have any lasers. We don't have any additional laser liability. So every single belly button on our plan is at $75,000 right now. That's not the case with a lot of our other groups. Lasering members has really become a thing in the past 4 to 5 years. That's another reason why we think moving away from Anthem on your reinsurance is a good offer. Still the same network as Anthem. Nothing changes for the actual people. This is all behind the scenes with our reinsurance.
Susan, that answer your question? Okay.
So this is all behind the scenes with reinsurance. We do not have any lasers in our contract. And this is really specifically with just insuring every belly button. Okay. So with this number 2 offer, this is Veris. This is one of our top stop loss markets. They have actually provided the best offer here, and they actually have a 30% rate cap for next year to 2025 renewal, and they cannot laser out any members. So we get a 30% rate cap worst case scenario for 2025, and they cannot add any additional lasers, which is becoming more of a trend. Right. So it gives us protection in 2025 as well. We'll always be able to market the coverage and figure out if we want to do something. But worst case scenario for 2025 would be a 30% increase on our stop loss or fixed cost piece with no additional lasers. So it really gives us a lot of protection through the end of 2025 going with this particular offer. Now, another piece you added on there was, what does a reimbursement look like? If someone has $150,000 in claims, right now, Anthem only takes the 75 from you because that's up to your belly button limit, right? You're insuring up to 75,000. Right now, if you have a claim with Anthem and there's 150,000, they only take 75. The new setup that we will have, they will take the full 150 and then they will reimburse you that other 75,000 back within about a 45-day period. So it's not an immediate reimbursement. Anthem just only charges you up to your limit because you're with them right now. This new one, it will just work in a little bit of a delay. So you get the exact same money.
Right.
You just have to understand you're not going to get it the day the claim happens. You're going to get it about a month and a half after that claim happens. Still all the same protection financially, but I just want to make sure we're on the same page when it comes to that.
The amount over the 75 will be taken out, will be paid, but we'll get it back.
It'd be paid right away, and then you'll get it back about 45 days later, correct?
Okay.
Any other questions, anything you
You
want?
might explain there is a change on the single deductible. The new statute is $3,200 now instead of $3,000.
That's correct. If you guys flip over to page 14 will quickly show you what the benefits look like today, and then what they will, in blue, what they will look like for 2024. So the IRS has mandated that a high deductible health plan like you guys offer needs to have a minimum deductible of $3,200. This year it's $3,000. For next year it's $3,200. So anyone enrolled on a single plan.
Just single plan only, though. It's not a
That's
family.
correct. We'll just have an additional $200 to meet, and that's not us making any decisions. That's the IRS federally mandated minimum for a high deductible health plan. I think it's a good time to mention, I will be at a variety of facilities on Wednesday. I'm going to start in the morning, we're going to be at the ambulatory center. In the midday, we're going to be at the courthouse and then the jail with the sheriffs. And then in the afternoon, we're going to be at the highway department. So we're going to do 4 separate meetings for everyone that shows up. We're going to go over a few different items. One of them is going to be the annual benefit guide. So I'll leave this, guys, for you. This went out last year as well. This gives an overview of all the benefits you guys offer to people, gives them a contact list, and it gives them a bunch of detail on what they can get from Anthem and the clinic. And then they're also going to get this information on their health center. We have the Proactive MD clinic. That's a really awesome benefit for everyone. They don't have to pay anything to go see it. So they'll get this as well when people come on Wednesday. So we're going to be doing the open enrollment here this Wednesday. Okay. Any questions on that piece? Nope. So there's a small increase in that single deductible from $3,000 up to $3,200. Okay. Back over on page 2, I'm not going to go through options 3, 4, and 5. That's just the due diligence we did on the marketing piece. Option number 2 is by far the best option for fixed cost and protection for 2024 and 2025. Okay. Page 3 gives us an overview of where we stand today financially. Our very top highlighted item, this shows what we're bringing into our account. We're bringing in $1.48 million to our account, and we're currently expecting about $1.73 million. So as you can tell, our expectation is a little bit higher than our pricing. And then let's move on down to what we expect for 2024. With the option that we're going at, you can see under green, we're expected to have about $1.68 million. So our actual expectations and what our healthcare costs are going to be are coming down, which is good to see. But we have to keep in mind we're kind of underfunding right now. We're not funding at the 1.73, we're funding a little under. Right. So when we go to that final column at the bottom, you can see about a 7.3% increase would be recommended to fund to 95% of expected. Or if you wanted to fund at 100% of expected, it'd be that number just above it at about a 12.9. Not necessarily what we recommend, but this is what your options are financially if you wanted to get to 100% or if we wanted to fund at 95. Jim knows for a lot of our clients, we have a ton of clients in the county, municipal, township space. We always recommend that they're funding about 95% or a little higher. So if we wanted to get to 95, we could be at about a 7. And then if we move to our next page, page 4, shows us if we want to take a 3, a 4, or a 5% increase. So if we move over to our 5% increase column, and we go with our current option, which is that second set of information there that's the Anthem and Veris with HMIG. You can see if we run it expected with a 5% increase, our account, we would anticipate our account to go down about 111,000. If we took a 12%, it'd be about flat.
Right. Typically, we have, our experience is we typically don't meet our expected, but we have the last 2 years, in fact, exceeded expected claims. So last year we funded below expected, knowing that if we hit expected or more, that we would lose in that $100,000 range about where we are now. That happened to us. It was a bad claim year last year, so we spent more. But we had reserve to cover that. I don't know where the reserve level is now or not, but where we are. But understanding would be that if the council, and they're the ones who decide this, they decide to go with the 5% increase, then, and we met expected claims, we would expect to lose $118,000. Yeah.
So I've talked with Richard about this for a number of hours, honestly. Somewhere between 5 and 7 we're comfortable with. If you guys decide that that's where we want to be, if we can go any higher than 7, we're going to be hopefully making a little bit of progress at the end of the year and trying to get a little bit of money back into that reserve account.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we sit right now. Somewhere between a 5 and 7 would be the recommendation from our side of the table.
Okay.
Any questions on this information right here?
Nope.
We were really happy with the marketing results, honestly. We think we got some good protection for you guys heading into 2024 and 2025, and we were able to get no lasers on that contract, which is really helpful. So I think we were happy with our results. The next page is the dental renewal for you guys.
Before you do that, let's just go ahead and take care of the health renewal.
Sure.
So you guys got any more questions on the health renewal? Understanding that that's what the dollars will be, then the council will decide what level they want to fund at when they go to do that. So I make the motion that we go with the Anthem Veris HMIG renewal offer.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now we have dental and vision.
Go over dental very quickly. We've got about an 8% increase in our dental. You guys are with Delta Dental right now. They're the strongest carrier in the state with the best pricing. We went to the market to figure out exactly what the market looked like, and this confirmed what we've always been seeing, really. Anthem and Principal are considerably more expensive for essentially the same, slightly worse dental coverage. And then Emeritus is actually quite competitive. Their network is not quite as strong, though. So there's about a 6% reduction in cost if we wanted to go with the Emeritus fully insured. But it may create a little bit of confusion on the members' end because they may not have the same network that they've had.
Staying at Delta instead of going to Emeritus, Emeritus is $3 a month less. So I think, my opinion is, for that $3 a month, it's worth not changing people's lives and dentists and who they have to go to and what they do for $3 a month.
I'm the same way.
Okay.
So I make the motion, we go with Delta Dental on the renewal.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Page 6, vision doesn't change at all. So we're going to go into another 4-year rate hold with no changes at all. That far column that you see, the 12.5%, that's increasing the frame allowance for the entire plan, but we don't recommend that. We just wanted to make sure we shared an option that people have been taking a look at.
Okay. Anybody have
within our
questions on that?
groups.
Nope.
No change in that, so I make a motion that we go with VSB on the renewal for the vision.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
We're going to go, before we finish up here, we're going to go into the Cardiovascular Center of Excellence. Let's set the stage right now with what we already have, is our Orthopedic Center of Excellence with Hendricks Regional. It allows members to get really high-quality orthopedic services done at Hendricks without paying their deductible and their out-of-pocket maximum. Saves them thousands of dollars. Because the savings are so good by us going to Hendricks Regional, we're also providing the incentive checks. So we've had 10 different people calling on Hendricks Regional. We've had 3 different surgeries that have been completed, and as I mentioned, for about $115,000 in surgery, that would have cost the group plan about $195,000. So we've seen some really good savings on that direct contract, and the outcomes have been wonderful. Plus, you don't have your members paying towards the deductible out of pocket, which is really helpful for those people. They're saving thousands of dollars, obviously.
Just so you understand that since we have the agreement with Hendricks as opposed to OrthoIndy or some other entity to do that, not only do our people not have to pay their deductible or out of pocket, they actually get $1,500, I think, incentive from county. We share that savings with the employees, so if you go to Hendricks to get the orthopedic, nobody says you have to, but if you choose to go that way, instead of paying anything, you'll actually get a $1,500 incentive check to go that way.
It's a voluntary program,
Yes.
That's correct. And just to make sure we're all on the same page, that incentive is 3 tiers. So there's a 500, a 750, and a 1500, depending on the expense of your actual surgery. If someone has something very small done, like a little cyst removed, it'd be 500. Luckily, the surgeries we've had performed have all been the 1500 kind, so we've seen the most savings. The reason I lay the groundwork there, this is a cardiovascular center of excellence. It essentially operates the exact same way. You do a direct contract with the Indiana Heart Center, the #1 heart center in all of Indiana. They're actually the #5 heart center in the entire country. So we're very lucky. Hour and a half drive to Indianapolis, somebody can get this super high-end heart procedures done. No deductible, no out-of-pocket maximum, as well as an incentive check given back to them.
Hang on, Nick, I don't know if it's just standard template with.
One of the most interesting things I want to make sure we state, my dad had a quadruple bypass just last year, and the hardest part of his recovery was the chest being meshed back together and kind of dealing with the surgery just to get in there. At this heart center, they are no longer opening people's chests to do quadruple bypasses, aortic aneurysms. They're coming in from the bottom of the rib cage and then the clavicle. So they have really high-end robotics that are coming in from both. They're doing really high-end heart procedures without opening someone's chest. You can imagine people go from needing 8 to 10 weeks to recover sometimes. They're recovering in like 2 to 3 weeks, getting back to work if they want to be back to work. Some people can't wait to get back, right? Some people want to take all 10 weeks, but...
Yeah, if folks don't understand what he's talking about, what that is, on open heart surgery, typically they just split the clavicle. I mean,
they open your chest right up.
Just get the clamps on that and just spread that open, and they work on your heart. Now he's saying they don't do that; they go above or below the rib cage and work, and that's amazing.
Which is incredible. I mean, the outcomes are much better because you don't have the potential for infection with all the things going on here, and the healing is much easier for people. So
and Randy get back to work quicker, so I like that part. So good, okay.
There you go. So, without belaboring this, I would say this is a program we'd recommend if you guys want to roll it out. It's voluntary. People can use it if they want to. If they love their cardiologist at Union or wherever they're going right now, they can always use that particular cardiologist at no additional fee. They just pay towards their deductible and out-of-pocket.
And that's
like
important. There's no commitment on our part. There's no cost on our part.
No,
it's a voluntary. If people don't want to do that, they don't have to do that. They go to the regular insurance. So there's really no reason for us not to offer this to our employees.
Think about the impact of someone saving $3,200 paying towards their deductible and then also getting the $1,500 incentive check.
And recovering quicker.
And recovering quicker and getting the highest quality of care. So Richard has been working on this one for 3 years, and we finally got it in place about 2 months ago. So
you guys have any questions on it?
there's information obviously here, gives you some detail on what the Heart Center does, who they are, and where they're ranked. So
I gave that
fantastic
contract
facility.
to Nick, he's our attorney, just to look at it, see if there's anything.
So I'm going to leave this contract here with him. Is it okay if I give this to you right now? Here's the contract for the Cardiovascular Centers of Excellence.
So just so Napier would know, I would make a motion that contingent upon the approval of our county attorney with the contract, that we go with the Ascension St. Vincent Heart Care Program.
Yeah, I mean, that's who I'm with, and I'm very happy with it.
Wonderful.
Oh, really? Well, that is
Yeah,
great.
my cardiologist is in Indianapolis.
Great.
So.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
The contract is very straightforward, like an orthopedic one. Are you guys comfortable with me communicating this on Wednesday when I'm meeting with everyone?
Yes.
I think it's really important that so if people have a need or they're getting ready to go into surgery, they understand they have the option to do
If we
this.
don't hear anything from you by Wednesday, you are good to go.
Okay, sounds good. We also have some posters that I'm going to be leaving, so we have some really nice posters that Ascension's provided. So you'll probably see those up in the courthouse, the department, and the jail. So I'm going to leave those big posters with everybody as I'm going through the meetings on Wednesday.
Great.
Okay? This is the anthem renewal. I need a few signatures from you,
Okay,
please,
let's do
on
that.
this. I'll leave this with you.
No, let's do it right now. What you got?
That'd be wonderful.
We put them in your hand. What
Everything
day are you coming back?
Wednesday. I'm going to
Okay.
be here all day Wednesday.
Do you guys think that he needs to go to the council on Thursday? Is it this Thursday or next Thursday?
Yeah, it's-
Next Thursday. Just to explain the rate choices on the announcement, or I can explain it for you, whatever you want to do.
What's the time? What's the
9
time?
o'clock here,
On Thursday?
the second Thursday of the month.
Next Thursday, a week from this Thursday. So that'd be the 14th?
I actually put a hole on my calendar for you guys for that date, so I must have
Perfect.
predicted it was gonna
Yeah,
happen.
well, we talked about that already. I didn't know if you
Yeah.
were coming to the council meeting or not, so if you can do that, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll just send an email to you, Mary Ann, on the details to make sure I'm in the right place at the right time.
It
So
just
next
gives them
Thursday, the
the-
14th.
They understand that they're the ones that have to pick what level they want to fund at and what the consequences may or may not be depending on what they choose, so.
Okay.
On one hand, you save premium costs, but you're at risk of having to come up with some extra money, $118,000 if they meet expected, so.
Yep.
That'd be a good place to be.
So if we're deciding that next Thursday, when I'm doing my meetings this Wednesday, I will not be providing pricing or rate information. I'm just gonna provide an overview.
Right.
Let people know that nothing, with respect to the coverage, very few things are changing.
Right, 'cause we
And
all
then
know till
the
they
pricing
say.
will be announced as we get closer
Yes.
to the middle of the month.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're comfortable with that.
yep.
Okay. That's it from my end. Page 12 is just for housekeeping items for Mary Ann on the IRS HSA contribution limits.
Is this what
Just so
you-
you guys have that information
That's
right
what I
there.
get to some, I don't know. if it's-
Everything that needs a signature is highlighted, so if you just see something highlighted,
Okay,
please provide a signature. I think there's like 4 or 5
Okay.
total.
Can you email me a copy after everything's signed?
This?
Uh-huh,
You got it, of course. I'll send you the fully executed documents that have Anthony's signature as well, if that's okay.
yes.
just so you know, I much prefer this font over this font. Just so you know. I'm not sure why I
Sorry.
signed there, so we're signing. It's okay. I'm just giving you a hard time.
And just so you guys all know, Proactive MD is gonna have someone joining me for the majority of the meetings that we're doing on Wednesday.
That is great.
So they're gonna speak to what's available at the clinic, what they can have done for free, the kind of medications, the different locations, because I think we've got one in Mansfield, Brazil. We've got them in a variety of different areas that they can go to, right?
Brazil,
Sorry.
Covington,
Yeah,
Petersburg,
I
maybe?
think there might even be one at Crawfordsville.
There is.
Montezuma, Brazil, Greencastle, and Spencer are the closest, but you can go to any of them.
Yes. Okay,
So hopefully that's been a good relationship for you guys. Hopefully you get good feedback on that clinic.
we do.
Because that's been
We
really
do.
good.
It was difficult first to get people to go take advantage of it, but I think we do.
Okay.
Might check all that before you get away, just to make sure we didn't miss one.
They're known to do that.
I'm feeling abused here, I don't know.
Okay. I think that covers it,
Okay,
gentlemen.
Nick, I appreciate your time, thanks. I think-
Thank you guys very
I think
much.
you worked very hard on our behalf, and I appreciate that.
Very thankful to be a partner with you guys, so thank you so much for all your time. Hopefully the Cover Bridge Fest went great for you guys.
It
We
did.
spent all of our time over in Bridgeton this year.
Really, in
It was-
Bridgeton? Jeez.
It was packed. Well, we've done Rockville the past
That's
2
what
years,
Dan's
but Bridgeton was
Yeah.
packed. I
Yeah.
loved it. It was great.
Was it because the roads were closed?
Yeah,
Yeah, stir the pot a little bit. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's right, yeah.
Anything else I can help with, gentlemen?
Good to see you. Tell Richard said hi.
I sure will.
Yeah, appreciate it. And Caleb and
Sounds good.
all of them. Thanks.
Great.
Appreciate
I'll
it.
see some of you guys on Wednesday if you guys are out and about.
Okay, appreciate it.
And
Thank
Susan,
you.
thank you for all your help too.
Oh, sorry.
Can I get a copy of that overview?
Yes.
Okay, Health Department, request to reappoint Dr. Angela Hatfield. Is that request in here, Ron?
Yep.
Oh, here's
Yep,
the
it's in
one you need to sign, there's one in there for you.
Okay. So we have a request here to appoint Dr. Angela Hatfield as the part of the health board.
Is that your motion?
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Travelers is not here, George isn't here, I don't.
No, he did, just sent, I just got this in the mail.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you guys
So
know
you, so you guys know George and I and Mary Ann met to talk about
Well,
the,
this is about a claim they
A claim.
denied.
oh, okay, okay.
The storm that hit June the 29th did a lot of damage up in the courtroom and some other places, and they denied it all.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we met to discuss changing from Travelers to another company, just so you know that we're looking at maybe a different renewal when George comes to us for the renewal. And why would they deny the claim? What reason did they give
You
you
got
that?
a copy
You
of it
do?
in there, and it explains it all.
Have you seen it, Nick?
No.
Did I give you a copy?
Whatever, I saw just had a one-page sheet.
There it is.
Just so you got the same thing we got. Looks like it's because overhead and transmission lines are not included
Yeah.
in our declarations.
So was it those overhead lines that caused the damage? Interesting.
So, this is
Was it
probably-
physical damage or was it damage to electronics?
Both, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Randy took care of most of it.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks. All right. Now, we've got a thing here from EMS. Remember last time we talked about this?
Here, I have it. No?
Yeah.
But I have one for you to sign.
Yeah, but this number is different than what the number was they presented to us.
Don just gave this to me today, mine.
Well, I have two quotes here from them, and the number is the same, Q1061 and Q1061. Let's see if they've added something to it. Oh, okay, that's why. They have also added the units in other buildings, in another building besides just the courthouse. That's the difference in price, okay, because this price is about $1,900 more than the original one, but it did not include the residential units in another building, or inspecting the chiller pumps, so, okay.
Okay,
That explains
because
it.
Don just gave you this one.
Yeah.
And there's two of them. If you agree, can you sign both sheets?
Okay.
Because Don wants a
Okay.
copy back.
So what this is a preventive maintenance program for the new chiller. We had to, we're gonna have to buy a new chiller for the air conditioning. This is on the last leg, it's 20-some years old now. And that's gonna be a cost of about, I think it's $139,000 or so, I think. We did not have this paper with us last time to approve the preventive maintenance. And that maintenance includes all the chiller assessments going on, the basement air handlers, replace the filters quarterly, inspect the motors, grease all fittings, check for proper operation, 3 residential units in another building, and inspect the chiller pumps. So I'd make the motion that we enter into this preventive maintenance program with Elite Mechanical Services.
Did we not do that last time? And
No, we did the one for
We-
Boilermaster.
Yeah, we did it for the other, but
Yeah, but Don didn't.
Don
we had
said
one.
he didn't think he had one.
But I found mine and
But
called
then
him, and he
you-
found it,
yeah,
yep.
All right,
we
I'll
found
second
it
that.
later.
Yep. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Need 2 copies signed.
I forgot to put lines on the
Oh,
second
okay.
one.
Just sign it somewhere if you would. All right. Then we have a listing of
The
commission
schedules
meetings.
for meetings next year.
You look, there are 3 occasions that we meet on Tuesday as opposed to Monday. No, that's wrong. I was looking at both of them together. That's the last year's.
No?
No.
We have January
both are
2nd, January
January-
16th.
Yeah, both
Yeah,
are
because January 1st is Monday.
All right,
then
so
we
we
have
have
one
3
on
that
September
are, we have
3rd.
3 that are on Tuesdays then.
And Martin
And that's
Luther-
just because they're holidays.
Yeah. I think it's Martin Luther King.
Yep.
Day on the 15th. And then the festival, or no, then Labor Day, I think would be the September one.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I make a motion we accept the holidays for next year, or the meeting dates next year as presented to the auditor.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let me get a picture of this so I'll have it on the phone.
You can keep that one.
Well, I'll lose it, so it's better this way. All right. Okay, Randy Norman.
Do you want to do Neysa then?
Oh, yeah, wait, yeah, let's do
You
that,
asked
yeah,
them to
yeah,
come back.
yeah, I did, yeah. Come on up, guys.
It's old business.
So, you had asked me last time to bring you guys the report of the last,
Thank you.
this year and last year, and I included 21 since that's where my records start. 21 was still a little rough as far as recording
Sure.
because we were all still getting through that learning curve on everything. You can see there's a pretty substantial decline in our total after expenses this year. That is because of the extra expense that we had to put on the event as a whole. So that was increases with tents, the toilets, the advertising, the general things, plus our other expense. We've been investing in equipment and products that we can use, the picnic tables that we put on the lawn. We increased that quantity this year. We did all of the barriers last year so that we don't have to impose on the town and the county to find those resources to do the roadblocks. So we've invested in things that will last us years to come over the last 2 years. So that really substantially took our total down. In 21, I didn't get a solid number in our recordings. We brought invoices and half of them were paid previously, so you guys decided we'll pay these and then we paid the remainder. So that year, the expenses technically would have been higher with a reimbursement, but I don't have it, so it's just not reflected in those
Okay.
expenses.
What the setup is, the transient merchant license fees that the county collects, about 3-4 years ago now, I can't recall exactly, the PCI was hurting for funds due to the expenses, and so we agreed to commit up to $25,000 of those transient merchant license fees that were collected to pay the expenses, not to give a check to PCI, but to pay expenses as they were presented to us. So those $25,000 that we gave to PCI to pay the expenses covered things like the tent and trash removal, that type of thing. Typically, the TML fees are used to pay the extra cost of the Covered Bridge Festival for the Sheriff's Department, the ambulance service, whatever expenses along those lines come. And so a lot of people think the county makes money off of the Covered Bridge Festival. The county has never made money off the Covered Bridge Festival. It was never designed to make money off the Covered Bridge Festival back in '57. Those funds raised are a blessing that they're raised, because had we not had a transient merchant license and those folks who come to sell their wares chip in $100 to help do that, that whole cost would be on the taxpayers of the county, and that would be difficult to sell, I think, anymore with finance the way they are. So our question last time was, we wanted to see what the expenses were, because we didn't, and Neysa and I have had this conversation several times, just didn't want them to assume that we were going to commit $25,000, because I know they've raised their fees, I know they had more vendors, so I know they had access to more funds. In this year's case, they did spend about $25,000 more in expenses than they spent last year, so there is still a need there. We just need to decide what the level of expense of that $25,000 we want to commit to them to help pay those bills to keep that festival going. I will say that I think the festival in Rockville this year was the best and most active that I had seen in in the last 30 years anyway. I mean, back 60 years ago, I can't believe I'm talking about 60 years ago. 60 years ago, it was huge then too, because Rockville was the only place to go. But now with all the other things that are going on, this is the best served by the best crew that I've experienced in the years in recent history. I have heard nothing but good things about the way Bridgeton went, even with the roads closed. I think that was, I had so many people say, and I always hate when people say that, well, it should have been done a long time ago. Well, I know, but you know, you can't think of things all the time or make that bold a deal. But that's turned out to be a wonderful thing too. I wish the county had the money to build another road to go from the north side to the south side, straight through, without having to go around that. And I drove it, Gail and I drove all that the other day, those 5-mile trips to go from one side to the other. But again, it's only 5 miles, and that saves somebody from getting hit by a car, then that's fair trade-off with me, so I am just fine with that. But I think all the other little towns also experienced good things, so it was a good festival. So our decision is, of that $25,000 that we have typically given to PCI, do we want to continue that, realizing the extra expenses they had? What are your thoughts?
Jim, I want to add too, if you don't mind. Part of the expense that we take on does go out into Tangier, Mecca, Montezuma, and Rosedale, and Bloomingdale. So that is part of our expense as well that we've absorbed to help.
Typically, it's tents. Is that what it is still?
It's tents at the locations. It's sidewall in Tangier,
Okay.
and then the portable toilets at all of those locations as well. We do collect a 10% fee from them.
So they do pay for their stuff.
They pay into it, but it does not offset the entire expense.
Okay. Because we've had that discussion before, that porta pots is not a responsibility of us to provide those, but if they're paying funds in, we can use those funds to contract to go those, help pay for those then. So.
There was actually a $35,000 shortfall from last year.
Yes.
Okay. The expenses.
Yeah, and some of that, like I was saying, is tangible equipment and things that we'll have for years to come that we won't have expenses.
So it wasn't money spent and gone, we just made purchases with it. So that's why I'm thinking maybe one more year we can cover that to help get over the expense stuff. But I would think then after that point, not that you need to request from us, I'm not saying that in any way, so don't think I'm requesting that. But it might be good to let us know if you're gonna make some major purchase like that again, just so we can plan along the way. So it's, and I don't blame the council for it, but it's the council's concern with the money where we're spending that money. They would just assume that none of that $25,000, and we would too, just assume none of that $25,000 is going to help pay for that portion. If there are enough funds coming in. Shows this year there's a shortage of funds there, so we ought to help with that, and then maybe we plan better going forward. It is still my hope, and I've said it openly many times, it's still my hope that we will get this where the tourism office as the county functions, so we can have a full-time county tourism office. It's always been tough for me, with tourism being the second largest industry in the county, that we don't have any county contact operating out of wherever they work out of. So we still need to talk about that, how we're going to get that going. So what do you think?
Well, like last year, we only paid 17,000 of the 25. Is that the way I
Yes.
read this?
Yes.
Yes.
17,200.
And that's what
Do you know how
this year.
that number came up? How did we come
I
up with
think
it?
that was the outstanding bill on the.
Was that just the
tents at
outstanding
time.
bills
Yeah.
that you had?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we just covered whatever was
Yeah.
left? Have any idea what kind of outstanding bills you've got?
They've all been paid. Everything is out.
Okay.
So
So whatever the county gives you is just kind of
it will offset.
Just
And
give
going
you a
in
cushion for future
Yeah.
stuff that you may want to do.
Yeah, and then getting our contracts going and deposits and things like that.
Right, that's
next
what I'm
year.
saying, like your 10
So basically it's
deposits and
saying-
stuff like that, yeah.
Last year after festival, they had $60,000. The year before, they had $57,000. This year, they have $35,000.
Yes. And would you take that 25 and it puts them pretty close
Yes,
to
it
what
does.
they would have done
Yes.
the last 2
That's why I'm
years.
okay with going another year with it, and see where we are from then on. I just really want to make sure that they both understand, it's not a promise that it's going to be there every year.
Right.
Because it was a lifesaver before when we did that, and we're more than willing to help keep that thing going for our folks. So, what do you think, Dan?
I'm fine with it. If Bruce is, I mean,
Yeah,
If you're gonna have
just
it,
curious
you
how
gotta
we
do
came up with
advertisements, you gotta-
17 out of the
Well,
25 last year, but.
Well, all the advertising, now that's all CVC stuff, that's Convention Visitors Commission.
yes,
Yeah.
but
The actual production of
The other
this
expenses,
and the other big dog is Maple Fair, of course. That's what PCI was created to do, Maple Fair and Covered Bridge Festival. So
Yeah,
that's-
and we are operating 7 days a week now, and there's me, and then
Great.
we have 2 temps that
Great.
work part-time throughout
Great.
those days too. So when you look at that 35,000 plus, I think we were around $6,000 or $7,000 up on Maple Fair.
Okay,
It could have been a little bit more.
Okay.
That's basically what we have to operate the office for the year.
okay.
In addition to
Yeah, in addition
some,
to the
because of the
CBC.
CBC.
CBC gives them $2,000 a month off, right?
Yeah.
And,
But that's the jug or roll
I,
whole of where our funds come.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, they've got to operate and stay going if the festival's gonna continue, so
so that's your motion?
Let's just go to
Yeah.
25, I'm okay.
if you're okay with it, I'd make a
Yep.
motion, we give them the full 25,000 this year and see where we stand next year.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Hey,
Okay. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yep. All right. Now, Randy. Thanks for coming, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Look forward to it, yep.
Thank you all.
Got the pipes ordered for 1,200 east seaboard, so they should be in 3 or 4 weeks, I imagine, something like that.
254s.
254 square,
Yep.
V-shaped pipe.
Did you share that information with the folks that came in, so they know what we're gonna do?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
We've been patching every day that we could. Put 4 patch machines, now we're down to 3. We got a truck over in Illinois getting a new bed put on it, the old single axle. It was losing more rock than we was putting down, so. All the truck's been run through, should be ready to plow snow, all the lights,
Okay.
hydraulics all work on. And we've got,
How are we on drivers? We got enough drivers?
for 1 shift anyhow.
Okay. How many drivers are we short of where you wanna be?
Uh,
How many drivers short are we from where you'd like to be?
4 or 5, I think.
Wow.
We made up 1,600 ton of calcium sand. Got one little pile to mix up. It's already got the calcium in it. We had about 1,600 ton left, or something like that, from last year. So,
Okay,
we should be around 3,200 or a little better down there.
okay. Just so people know, because they don't have access to that information ever, we hear people carrying on, of course, they don't really know what they're saying, what they're really talking about cold patch or hot mix or cold mix. We just had this conversation at Commissioners Conference last week in one of the meetings with LTAP, in fact, and it's not an uncommon thing. A lot of counties do the cold mix for the same reason we do the cold mix. It's more flexible than the hard mix is. The hard mix, with the freeze and thaw and not much base under, it's going to break and crack more than the cold mix does. So that's a good way to go, actually.
Yeah.
Most people think we're going that way because it's a cheap way to go. Well, it is cheap, but it also works better on our roads than what the hot mix does. But you don't have to know what you're talking about to carry on, I understand. What else you got?
So that's all I have for the bids.
Okay, we got some bids to open up here, so the way the process works, we get bids for the supplies for the upcoming year, and the companies send the bids in, and we have to open them in a public meeting, and we won't make a decision today, we'll just open them and acknowledge that they're all filled out correctly, and all the documentation that's required is here, and then we'll make that decision at a later point.
First bid we have is E3 Bridge is the bidder out of Bedford. You want me to read these, or do you just want him to compile them? And
I don't need to see them until we get a compilation, as long as all the important things are there, that's what I care about.
okay. Yeah, they got their bid off.
We've only had a couple times in all my years of being here that we had documentation not included, and we had to throw some out because it wasn't all there. And,
Mainly not being notarized.
yes, and the important thing for everybody to understand, they only get one shot to send this in, they can't take it back and fix it and send it back in again. It's gotta be right when it comes in, that's why we open in a public meeting, and that's why the attorney opens it when we go.
Next one is St. Regis Culverts Incorporated.
In case participants are wondering why they're open already, it's because Nick sat there and opened them a while ago while the meetings were going on, so we didn't have to
Yeah,
go while
the
we're.
public was all here.
Yes, they were, and it's
Recording
videotaped,
stuff was
so,
all set up
yeah.
and everything. Nobody else opened them, I just did. It's got everything.
You do look a little questionable, so I just wanted to make sure we had that covered.
That was on culvert pipes.
Culverts, yeah.
St.
Culverts.
Regis Culverts Incorporated, correct? This one's US Aggregates.
Randy, what's the cost in culverts doing? Is it going nuts still or is it pretty steady?
It's kind of leveled out a
Good.
little bit.
Good,
They're still high, but,
yeah.
you know, it's kind of
How long are those 54 inches we're gonna put in?
40 foot.
And what do they cost?
I'm not sure, I don't remember.
Okay.
They're pretty expensive.
Ballpark, what do you think?
$7,000-8,000.
Okay.
Pumps, tire service. Metal Culverts Incorporated. Messed up in that one, I did.
Sure, let me close the meeting without taking care of this. I'll forget that if I don't. So when you see me trying to close the meeting, I got 3 items here I gotta cover.
Heidelberg Materials, Putnamville Quarry. Whitesville Mill Service.
That's Durburn.
Are they back to manufacturing enough that everybody's getting what they
They
want?
had some here a while back, we haven't hauled any, but,
Yeah.
A fellow get crushed up there about a week ago, didn't they? Got killed.
oh, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. Yeah, that plant shut down. I think it was in the steel part that
Oh, and,
brings the scrap in from the trucks and railroad.
oh, I hadn't heard that.
We were stockpiling that. Are we still stockpiling Durban? Let me get it.
No, I haven't had any.
Do we need to go to it while they have access to it? Do we need to start stockpiling some of them?
We've got some down there, not a whole lot. We've got a pretty good stockpile of 53s.
Okay.
That was Milestone Contractors. S&G Excavating Incorporated. Lincoln Park Stone. Heritage Petroleum. Sibylcon.
Another pipe supplier.
Cirrus Solutions. County aggregates. Parke County aggregates again. This is the culverts.
Plastic pipe.
E&H bridge and grading. BHK Auto Parts. It's a material bid packet. Yeah, Illini or Illini FS. However you want to say that. Huh?
A lion eye.
Thanks, Nick, you did good. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You don't carry these stuff?
No. Took me forever to open them, and then I missed it. I had to open them.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Okay, we appreciate you. We'll get together. They approved me last time for us to start the process, to find someone
Okay.
to get. And so you and I will sit and then meet with Dept probably and start going through some guidelines, what we'd like to change. I talked to Tom Martin too, and maybe he'd sit down with us and try to, if we're gonna make any changes, now would be the time to make those changes. And I'm sure you have things that you would like to see differently, and so, and things you'd like to see preserved. So we just need to get that information from you as best we can. Okay. Appreciate you. Thanks, sir.
Uh-huh.
Have a good evening, Brandy.
Did Chris O'Brien have anything for us? Okay. Jason Frazier.
And Julie's not here.
Got billing for housing inmates out of county and DOC. Year-to-date's $255,879. Report of collections year-to-date is $92,000, $92,953.34. And then we started on the padded cell today, redoing it, as you guys know.
It's not your office, is it? We're talking
No.
about? Okay.
Not yet.
If you don't know what he's talking about, at the jail, we have a padded cell for people that are at risk of injuring themselves. It has to be in good shape, and ours is not any longer. So periodically, it has to be upgraded, and that's what they're working on.
I figured every 12 years maybe,
Okay.
so far.
Because if it's not upgraded and it's still dangerous and they hurt themselves, we're liable for that.
It's a very expensive project, but something has to be done. But that should be wrapped up by tomorrow, I would think.
Great. That's it?
That's it.
Man,
Unless you guys have any questions.
no? Are you fully staffed?
Yep.
You
Knock on wood.
you got a new dispatcher?
Yeah.
Great, great,
Yep.
okay. Julie Lanzo's not here. I have a couple things, three things actually. We talked last time about it's not our goal in any way, shape, or form to impact anybody and tell people what to do, but we've had trouble in the past and had extended trouble this last year getting people moving their shacks into the festival for the Covered Bridge Festival onto the lawn at the courthouse too early, and then people stuck around too late. It was 16 days before one after the festival one got off. So we asked Nick to put together a ordinance of some type that would encourage people to go by the rules. They had been instructed that they couldn't go in before 4 o'clock on the Friday. They went in the middle of the afternoon. They knew it was early. They completely trashed some brand new driveway and seed work, sod work that we had done, that had to be repaired. And then we had one afterwards, after the festival. We had about 7 that were really late getting out, but we had one that was there for 16 days after the festival was over for no reason. The reason was that there were cars parked in the way. Well, nobody asked those cars to be removed or asked us to make those spaces available. But the gentleman then who typically removed it came and removed it without changing any car parkings anyway, so it couldn't be done. So it's not that we were upset with anybody. We're not trying to bully anybody. But we're going to have something in place because at the end, it's just as soon as that festival is over, yard work has to begin. That yard has to be aerated, has to be overseeded, it has to be created for the next year coming up. And that hole in southwest corner of the courthouse cannot be done because there were things in the way. It just had to be a bypass. So we got to make sure it's done. So what Nick has brought to us today, it's an ordinance setting deadlines for placement and removal of trailers, shacks, and from county property during the Parke County Covered Bridge Festival. And let me read it real quickly because it needs to be read in public meeting here. Whereas Parke County Covered Bridge Festival begins the second Friday of October each year. Whereas Parke County Board of Commissioners is responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of county-owned property, including the courthouse lawn. Whereas Parke County Covered Bridge Festival activities as part of the Parke County Covered Bridge Festival activities, the Parke County Board of Commissioners allows non-for-profit organization to place trailer shacks on the courthouse lawn. Whereas in recent years, there's developed a problem with organizations failing to remove said trailer shacks from the courthouse lawn in a timely manner. And whereas the Parke County Board of Commissioners has determined that public welfare is benefited by a deadline for the placement and removal of trailer shacks from the courthouse lawn, therefore let it be ordained. And what it says then, that upon passage of this ordinance and publication thereof, it shall henceforth be prohibited for an individual or group to leave their trailer shack on the courthouse lawn without the express authorization of the Parke County Board of Commissioners past the third Wednesday following the last day of the Parke County Covered Bridge Festival. We came with that date. That gives them 2 weeks, 2 full weekends to get their items moved out. And if they're not going by that following Wednesday, in the middle of next week, then this ordinance kicks in. That no trailer shack shall be placed on the courthouse lawn prior to the Friday before the canopy tent is set up on the courthouse lawn without express permission. And then that failure to abide by said ordinance may result in the citation of a Class C infraction with a fine of a sum not to exceed $500 per day. Each day shall constitute a separate violation of the ordinance. So it simply says you can't move them until Friday, and there'll be a time for that Friday. And they can't move them, they can't leave them more than whatever that second or third Wednesday is after the end of the Covered Bridge Festival. So it's pretty lenient. It's just finally got a timeline there. So that's the recommendation of the ordinance. You guys got any thoughts?
No, sir. Look good to me.
Pretty much
So
what we talked about.
It would be 2023-13 ordinance. Is there a motion to
I'll
approve?
make a motion. We approve ordinance 2023-13, which is establishing the guidelines for the shacks on the square.
And I'll second that.
You want to include that motion then, same day, same meeting?
Yep, I'll do that
Okay.
as well.
So it's included in the minutes that we will do this same day, same meeting. So it's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 2023-13, same day, same meeting. And it's been moved to adopt ordinance 2023-13. All in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Nick.
Yep.
Good job. I'm giving you more stuff to do
You
all the
gonna
time.
sign
But, well, this one's been written on. We're gonna need to get a new copy of that, so. We can do this. This is just, they were taking, I showed it to some folks back here and they just wrote on. So but we can go ahead and sign it. Just because it's got marks on it there, doesn't really mean
Yeah,
anything.
I think I only brought one copy. with me.
Okay. This is the 4th day. of
Marion,
this.
Can you send me the?
I can send you a clean copy, yeah.
No, just the top copy, because
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's what it's marked
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, the signature, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jerk
That's
away
all
from
right.
here. I forgot we had.
If the
two
signature's
things.
Two
on the
lines.
second copy, I just need a copy of the front one.
Yeah, I will. I'll send you that in the morning.
Okay.
Signature page is fine.
I won't trust Jim with our copies anymore.
See, you're thinking. Good
Make
job.
two.
Good job.
I just won't give it to him until it's time to present it.
There you go.
You guys sign in both places?
Yep,
Yep.
we'll have to come back in.
Okay, second item that I have is we had an employee in the courthouse pass away unexpectedly, Henry Harper, young man. So the funeral is going to be Friday. Visitation starts at 10 o'clock and will last until the funeral, which begins at 1 o'clock. And so the courthouse office holders have asked if we would okay for them to close their office, if required, on Friday at noon, which will give them an hour then to get to visitation if they weren't going to go to the funeral, or time enough to get to the visitation and the funeral. So they asked if they could close their office from noon to 3, with the understanding that the only release is to go to the funeral. If you just go to visitation but don't go to the funeral, then you're expected to come back to work. And if you don't do either of that, you're expected to stay at work. So that would be the understanding in my motion. So I make the motion that we approve allowing office holders to close their offices from noon to 3 p.m. this coming Friday for the funeral of Henry Harper, with the understanding the closing is for participation and attendance at visitation and or funeral only, and if that is not required, then our employees are expected to stay at work.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the last thing I had, we talked about this about 3 years ago. If you remember when we had the clock tower renovation, we used to have lights hanging from the courthouse all the way down to the corners. Those lights actually belong to the town. The town put those up. And so when we began the renovation of the clock tower, those came down and it was found that they were really in awful shape. But they've been up there for 20 years or so a long time. There was no way to put those back up. The architect was amazed that they were ever put there in the first place, because all they were, there's a little walkway around the cupola up on the very top, and they were just fastened to that iron fence around the cupola. He's amazed they even lasted that long, that some storm didn't take them down and the cupola with it when they went. Or if a tree had fallen, which no one thought about, I'm sure at the time they did that, they've been up there longer than me. If a tree had fallen and got caught in those lines coming down, it probably would have pulled the top of the clock tower off as well. So he says, no, we don't want to put things back up there. But now, with change in technology, now we have LED lights that are actually just the fiber themselves and a plastic coating. It's not very strong tensile strength, but they can support about 400 feet of length with their own weight without having to have a wire, because the other ones had a steel cable running from the cupola all the way down the ground, so when the tree fell, it would have taken that out. So about 3 years ago, we okayed me to look into that about getting some of those. I have talked to this company, and there are some available. But before I pursue and get costs, I want to know if you're still interested. I'm not crazy about the idea of leaving them up the whole time, because it takes away from the appearance of the courthouse. If there was some way that we could do that on an annual basis, we could string them down and then roll them back up, I'd be in favor of that. But I just need, okay, you guys for me to even look into those options, if that's okay to go ahead and start looking that way. Or we could talk about putting a holder on the limestone, so it's not even up on the metal roof or on the cupola, and go from the limestone corners of the courthouse down to the corners of the square. We have those options to look at. And that would be something that could be attached on an annual basis. A lift truck could get us up there to hook them to a hook on the a corner of the limestone, and then run them out to the light poles in the corners. So, what are your thoughts? Any interest? I only brought it up today because it was brought up to me at the tree lighting. Someone had asked if we could ever get those back again, and I told them that we had looked at that about 3 years ago, but didn't really find anything favorable that would work. But these new LEDs might be an option to look at those. They're lighter weight and wouldn't have all that. And if we put something on the corner of the limestone, we could attach them and take them down every year. So we don't have to decide that today. Just think
I
about
don't have a problem looking into it and price them, see where we're at, and we
Yeah,
know.
I'd say
It's
that's,
not hard to make a decision till we know where we're
Sure.
at.
Another option some courthouses do is they simply lay LED lights. You look at the courthouse, it's got a ledge around below the windows and above the windows. There's a ledge. And I've seen pictures of courthouses that lay LED lights permanently, just leave them there, and then light those up at Christmas time, and they light the side of the building up, and they're shining up. So that's another option I'll look at too. But if it's okay with you, I don't need a motion, but if it's okay with you, I'll go ahead and investigate with some understanding that.
Yeah, I'd say look into it.
I guess the only understanding I'm asking is if we get some reasonable price, and it's something we would move forward on, then you're not opposed to putting them up, I guess is what I'm getting at, if we find a reasonable way to do it. Okay.
Hendricks County's got theirs up, but I don't know how they attach it to their courthouse.
Yeah, I don't either. And
No idea.
and had we had the thoughts of doing that when they put the new metal roof on, we could have created something to do that with. But now to pierce holes in that $2 million roof would be something I wouldn't be real crazy about, because it's gonna leak sometime. It's gonna leak sometime, so. I can talk to the architects, see what the options are, so I'll look into that and see where we are. Okay, Chester, you're on the agenda here for Angle Road and 75. I thought we talked about that before.
Oh, we did.
You had requested 30 minutes. We won't go 30 minutes, but tell us what you got. Something different?
No, what my understanding was that the reason they did that road gets 35 cars a week compared to Angle Road.
First off, you need to understand that we don't decide which roads we're gonna do by how many cars they get on them. That's always something that we consider, but if we're gonna use that logic, people who live on a road that's only got 3 or 4 people living on it would never get a new road. They wouldn't never have a decent road to drive on. So I understand what you're saying, but that's not a driving force in our consideration.
Okay.
Okay.
Angle Road was worse than that road.
In your opinion?
Yes, it is in my opinion.
I understand.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, I understand. I understand your opinion.
Okay.
You need to understand also that we go out every year, and we go with Randy and the commissioners, and we get in a truck, and we go check the roads, and we make those determinations. Now, if you got 2 roads that are both pretty bad shape, but we got plenty of circumstances where they're in pretty bad shape, we have to pick one. If I sent 10 of you, if I sent you out with 2 or 3 other people, and everybody out with 2 or 3 different people, you're all gonna come back with a different list of roads that ought to be fixed. I understand that. There is no magic bullet to make all the right choices and get all of them best we can, because we've already disagreed. You said Angle Road was worse, so we say it wasn't worse. So that's where we come with that. So whatever you might else have to offer to the argument, go ahead and do that, but that won't be a debatable thing.
Well, how many people called in on that road you're on? Right here's Mr. Webster, his wife called in 3 times.
Chester, that doesn't matter how many people you arrange to have call in the highway.
I didn't arrange anybody.
I'm just saying that has nothing to do with the decision making. Decision making, we go out and we look at those. Every phone call I get about road condition, I go look at. Every road that Randy gets a call about, we go look at that condition. We wish they were all in good shape. They aren't.
Will you please look at Angle Road?
Yes, we have.
Because it's one of the main roads, and even this weekend, Bridgeton was overwhelmed with people.
It was.
And they get to the Parke County line, miserable road.
Sure.
Right there.
They're all over the county.
I mean, would you please go out there and ride that road?
I rode that road to Fontenette just the other day, so I've been on that road recently. And is it rough? Yeah, it is. It's rough. I didn't even come close to compare to some of the roads I could take you on and show you what we're looking at, the ones we have to decide on what we're going to do. But we do look at those roads.
Is it any plan to do that in the near future?
They're all needing and trying to be fixed, but I'm not going to give you a schedule and tell you when we're going to do that, because we may even decide on the roads that we pick. If we pick like we just did with we got $203,000 to do roads, and we're doing the ones that were judged to be in the worst shape this time were 1100 East from Vinzant to where did it start?
1100 East starts at Vinzant, goes to Lena Road.
Lena, yeah, couldn't think of Lena. And then the other one was Strawberry Road, going from Rockville city limits out to the prison entrance. So we have to take all those things into consideration. I appreciate your concern. I wish every road was fixed too. We don't have the money to fix every road. And just because people think they know best which road ought to be done, I appreciate that. And I wish we could take all those suggestions. But I'm telling you, we would have 100 different ideas of what roads ought to be fixed if that's what
I agree with you. I just, at one time when I came here, you had like a 5-year plan, is what you told me.
We still do. But that plan changes all the time. Because bridges go out.
Has that road ever been on the 5-year plan?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But
it's been paved at some point, so it'd have to be yes.
Yeah.
At some point.
At some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not one of the roads that's being considered for next year.
No, we haven't looked at it. We'll look at it next year. When it comes time to make our new community crossings, we'll look at that and compare it with every other bad road that we have and see where we have to go.
We're done with the roads. I talked to Mary Ann and about closing my alley. I got a certified letter sent out, but I've never got the rest of the paperwork so I can get the alley closed there in Bridgeton.
So you're trying to vacate a road?
Yeah.
Yeah. And who have you gone through? What paperwork are you seeking?
Okay, the landowner next to me, I called and sent them a certified letter. They're okay with it. I've got a certified receipt.
You sent the green cards out?
Yeah.
Okay, where'd those come from?
The green card?
Yes.
The post office.
Okay,
Okay, we fill it out, put it on the letter. They picked up the letter and they sent a copy back to me.
Nick, what officers typically participate in abandoning, vacating roads? What's the process on that?
Well, so they have to meet the statute on their own. Our offices don't do that
Okay.
for them.
Okay,
So they have to go up to Indiana code on how to vacate an alleyway and
Okay.
follow the requirements on
how do they
that.
find that information? That's not something we do.
That's not something we do because that would be us practicing law for them.
Gotcha.
They have to meet those requirements on their own. We review that when it comes in to make sure they've met the requirements.
So would they
So if they haven't
be
met it,
advised to hire an attorney to take care of that for
that'd be
them?
my recommendation. Otherwise, they have to research it and make sure they follow their requirements on their own.
And as long as you understand that, because we would.
Oh, I understand that. I've asked the surveyor to come out,
Yeah.
the county surveyor. I just haven't hooked up with him.
He won't do that.
But
That's
he-
not part of his.
And the county surveyor is not a surveyor. He won't do the surveying. You're gonna have to hire a surveyor.
Yeah, I understand that too.
Yeah.
And you might not have to have it surveyed, but there's a statute through the Indiana code for the state of Indiana that tells you what requirements you have to meet.
I mean, where would I find this code so I could meet this standard?
You can find it online. You can just look
Well,
up
I mean, what would I look up for? Like Indiana code?
petition to vacate alley,
Okay.
for instance. I mean, but I can't really help them with that because I'm reviewing it on your end
Sure.
to make sure it meets
Sure.
the requirements.
Yeah.
I can tell you, we have never refused to vacate a roadway so long as all the participating
Yes,
bodies agree.
my mother-in-law had a road club
Yeah, we
down
never
there.
refused to do that.
But
For instance, like-
I just want to get the right form so I can get this thing done.
Any attorney would be able to do that for you.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
You talk, literally, probably any attorney could do that. But I can't do it for you or my office though because we're reviewing it for the county.
I understand that.
Conflict of interest, yeah, sure.
Yeah, but that'd be my recommendation. Typically, they won't charge you a whole lot to do it, but it can be kind of a tricky process to make sure you do it all right. So,
So understand, if you have the paperwork all done and you bring that before us, we've never not do that unless there's some reason that we see that we shouldn't close that alley. Maybe you and your neighbor think it should be closed, you don't like it being there, so you want to close it, but if we think there's value to having that alleyway there, then we won't vacate that. That's a decision we have to make, so we won't know that.
Yeah, I understand it too, yeah.
Yeah.
Because all my mother-in-law did was, the lawyer down there used to live in Princeton, she sent him a letter, he okayed it, she brought it before you guys, you guys said, okay.
Typically, the kind of things we vacate are the roads that aren't used. Typically, they're dead ends on
Yeah.
somebody's property. They don't go through to any place, they don't service anybody, they don't serve. We had one that we had to deny in, whatever the name of that little town is, they're south of Lyford, up on the edge, what's that little town?
Two rows?
No, before you get there. Doesn't even exist as a town anymore. But anyway, it's there. She wanted to vacate it to build a garage there. But we couldn't do that because that little alley, even though it wasn't used for traffic, the neighbor down the way wasn't even an adjacent neighbor, but he used that alley to get access back to his garage. And so we denied it because it was still being used by somebody. So just because you get the paperwork done, there's no guarantee. But typically, we don't resist those if that's what you're.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, because it dead ends on their property.
Okay.
It dead ends to the creek right
yeah, if
there.
it dead ends the going place, that's typically not a problem.
it's just usage by the public. If they're using it, then would be the other concern.
If there's a creek back there that people use that alley to get to the creek to fish or play, then we probably wouldn't close it because we wouldn't want to cut off that access.
I understand.
Okay.
Thank you and have a nice and pleasant day.
Yes, sir. All right, anybody else have any information? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We,
I'll second
all
that.
fair say aye. We're adjourned.